Miami's Reuben Bane Jr. is one of the strongest and most physically imposing defenders in the 2026 NFL draft class, and it leads to him being a first-round pick.
You are Locked On NFL Draft, your daily podcast covering the NFL Draft. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Welcome back to the Locked On NFL Draft Podcast, your daily podcast covering your favorite draft prospects, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. I'm your boy, Damen Parson. I'm an NFL draft analyst with Bleacher Report. And guys, as always, thank you for making Locked On NFL Draft your first listen today and every day. Shout out for being our everydayers. We got a fun one, man, talking about some more edge rushers that you need to know heading into the 2025 college football season and the 2026 NFL Draft. Miami's powerful defender, Reuben Bane Jr., Tyreak Sap, the versatile defensive lineman from Florida, and Ben Bell, who is a strong and physical edge defender. Guys, let's start with Reuben Bane Jr. Reuben Bane Jr. is listed at 6'3", 275 pounds. In 2023, as a true freshman, this young man was dominant on the line of scrimmage, right? 9 sacks, 10 QB hits, 2 fumbles forced, 25 pressures, and a batted pass. You saw the strength, you saw the physicality, you saw the ability to consistently collapse the pocket. You saw that with Reuben Bane Jr. Now, after you set the table like that, in year one as a freshman, you expect, and everybody's expecting greatness and another level. The only thing that stopped that was he was dealing with a soft tissue injury. I believe he only played, and I want to double check. Yeah, he only played 3 defensive snaps week 1 against Florida in that game. You know, Miami and Cam Ward really put themselves on the map in that cross-state matchup against Florida, and on the road against Florida at that. He played 3 snaps and went out with a soft tissue injury, missed. He didn't return until I believe it was like week 6 of their schedule. He didn't return to week 6. On the season, real quick, numbers-wise, 4 QB hits, 4 sacks on the quarterback, 20 pressures from Reuben Bane. And even for some more context, he played 105 less total snaps in 2024 compared to 2023. He had 354 pass rush snaps. As a freshman, he only had 238 because of the injury with the soft tissue, which we know lingers. It can linger all year long, really. And sometimes players don't reach 100% from soft tissue injuries a lot of times until the offseason, where they're not playing, they're not training, and it's like, okay, I'm just rehabbing, I'm stretching. The body has healed. But when you're trying to play in the midst of that, it stops and limits the healing process. So those soft tissue injuries, that's why in sports, period, hamstrings and all that, those soft tissue injuries are always headaches because of the fact that they can be re-aggravated and flare back up, and they're very difficult to time in terms of actually healing to 100%. So the guy we saw last year was not 100%. Reuben Bane Jr., I said it in the opening, he is one of the strongest and most physically imposing defenders in college football. This young man is built like a grown man. Okay, he is built like a grown man. He plays with aggressiveness, ferocity, again, violent hands, heavy-handed. This is a guy that it's sometimes, not even something, a lot of times, he's a bull in the china shop, where it's like they just tell him, go wreck shop, Reuben. Go make plays. Like, you don't have to be the most refined. Your pass rush reps don't have to look the most eloquent. Doesn't have to be the most beautiful. But he just channels his inner Miley Cyrus and becomes a wrecking ball. That's what he becomes, man. And I love the potential for him, because coming back now, healthy, from 2024 coming into the 2025 season, staying healthy is going to be a big thing for him, right? Don't let anything flare up or re-aggravate. He stays healthy. In the ACC, he's going to have plenty of opportunities. They throw the ball, they run the ball. He's a good run defender. He could play, he can cross face as a rusher and as a run defender as well. Set guys up. things of that nature. I want to see that pass rush plan continue to manufacture and elevate. I think if he does those things, guys, where me and Keith always talk about instinctiveness as a pass rusher. Right now, I'm not saying he's not instinctive, but he doesn't have to be as instinctive because the fact that he knows that he can forklift you. You know, for all, if you know, you know. For all those technicians out there, he'll forklift you. That's an old school pass rush move, just power move. He will get his hands underneath your chest plate, underneath your arm, your shoulder pads, and he'll lift a guy off. It's like putting a big rig on two wheels, right? Like you popping, running on two wheels on the side. That's what he'll do to offensive tackles and offensive linemen. And then with his body type, this is a guy you get him with the right defensive coordinator. He could pull some 3-tech, 4-eye rushes, from the interior defensive line against guards. So nonetheless, for me, I look at Reuben Bane and I say he's a projected first-round pick, top 10 pick returning. And it's all about staying healthy and taking that game from a nuanced, detailed, and instinctive level or instinctive perspective to another level. If he does those things, guys, yes, again, he's 6'3", 275 pounds out of Miami. He's going to get ample opportunities. And then it's going to be the big games. It's going to be the big games where you're like, okay, this is where I want to see Reuben Bane take that next step because, yeah, those big-time moments is when you need players to be your big-time players to make big-time plays. And I believe that he's going to be able to do that. And you think about, I'm pulling up their schedule right now, guys. Their schedule, let's talk about it real quick in terms of big-time games. Starts out the gate at home, Hard Rock Stadium. Notre Dame comes to town. Guy that we talk about, Jeremiah Love. CJ Carr's more of a pocket passer than Riley Leonard being Mini Tim Tebow. Then a couple weeks later, September 20th, they get Florida. They got Florida State. You got SMU on the road. You got to travel to SMU, right? So you play Pittsburgh. They don't get Clemson during the season. So that's one where it's like, you wanted to see it. You wanted to see that game. But if they see Clemson and let's say they make the ACC championship game, that's a game against Blake Miller, their talented tackle. Tristan Lay, I believe, is the other. There's the left tackle. Blake Miller's an athletic, tall, right tackle. Their offensive line, their tackles are good. You go out there and dominate that matchup and force Cade Klubnik into some really bad plays and get sacks and force fumbles. Reuben Bane, 2025 is crucial for Reuben Bane. It's to get back and just remind them, let them know who you are as a player, as a prospect, as a defender. That's what the goal to me would be for Reuben Bane. It's to go out here, yes, improve, take your game to the next level, do all those things, but to showcase and remind everybody. What did Jay-Z say? Let me reintroduce myself. My name is Reuben Bane Jr. Like, yes, reintroduce yourself to the college football world and to the NFL evaluators, into the NFL draft community. Because a lot of people, again, if they're not watching the tape and everything, or they look at the stat sheet and they're like, oh, he wasn't that productive last year. It happens a lot. It happens a lot without looking to say, oh, he was hurt. Well, that's why he wasn't on the field as much. Yeah. So Reuben Bane Jr., just, hey, let me reintroduce myself. My name is Reuben Bane Jr., and I'm here to create as much havoc and hell for your offensive lines. But coming up next, guys, we're going to go to Florida. We're not going to Florida. We're staying in Florida, but going to Florida University with the Gators, talking about Tyreak Sap and his versatility and how that may be king to a skill set. That and more coming up next. Ever wish managing your money felt easier? With Monarch Money, it can be. Whether you're growing your savings or planning a big purchase, Monarch puts you in the driver's seat. It's like having your own personal CFO, guys, giving you full visibility and control over your finances. But Monarch Money isn't just a budgeting app. It's more. It's a complete financial command center. You can track all your accounts, investments, spending, all in one place. So in addition to managing your money, you're also building your wealth. What was the thing that surprised me the most about Monarch when I started tracking my spending? How much money we spent on food. So now we budget smarter. we cook more at home, and everything like that, and we save more money. Just really simple. So take control of your finances with Monarch Money. Use the code LOCKEDONNFL at monarchmoney.com for 50% off your first year. That's monarchmoney.com. Use the code LOCKEDONNFL for half off your first year. Tyreek Sap is maybe the king of versatility. I think that's one of the best parts of his game. Florida defensive lineman, 6'2", 275 pounds. Guys, I'm going to tell you something you need to know about his game, and I'm going to tell you about him. I like this young man. I like what he brings to the table. Number one, to be almost 280 pounds, he has nearly a six-pack. So this young man is chiseled. He's sturdily built, a very compact in terms of his frame, right? Thick lower halves, strong upper body. He's well proportionate in that regard. He's not like a top heavy guy where he's carrying all his weight up top or all his weight in his legs. He's well proportioned. And you see that strength and power that he has into his body and in his frame. You can tell he works out. You can see that translate to the football field. On the season last year, 4 QB hits, 8 sacks, 14 total pressures. Tyreek Sap was a guy, and he also had 2 forced fumbles. There's 2 fumbles forced as well. I love when guys are able to not just get the sacks, but can you get the ball out? That is a game changer for a defense. And when I look at Tyreek Sap, he is versatile, guys. He will rush from a 2-point stance, standing up on the edge. He'll rush with his hand in the dirt on the edge, but he'll also kick down inside and rush as a 3-tech 4-eye against guards and even some centers as well. Like, this young man can create penetration and havoc at the line of scrimmage. He can walk offensive linemen and blockers back into the pocket if he's working from the interior defensive line spot, but also he can work with his hands and his first step quickness. Again, for 275, I appreciate the quickness. I didn't get the chance to say, but Reuben Bane, same thing. For these guys to be nearly 280 pounds, their ability to fire off the ball, time those snaps, right? Keep their pad level low. And then when you throw your punch as a blocker, having the counter and the hand usage to work around it, clear, displace the hands, and now I've cleared your shoulder, and I'm going to flatten this path to the quarterback. Tyreek Sap, not only does he play well as a pass rusher from multiple alignments, he does the same thing as a run defender too. So, and then you see the athleticism where he's lined up as a outside edge rusher standing up, and you want to run some of the kind of gadget plays, things like that, trying to work past him or whatever the case may be, thinking that he's not athletic enough to stop those jet sweeps and those jet pop passes and all that type of stuff. No, he will definitely get out there in space, and he's a functional mover in that regard as well. I think he even dropped him off in coverage a couple times. But this is a guy that I think second round, he might have a first round upside though, right? When you look at strength, alignment versatility, hand usage, first step quickness, I think athleticism, overall athleticism is there. I really like Tyreek Sap's game. And I think now coming into this year, they got DJ Lagway, who's had the whole season. He was a freshman last year. So he is what a lot of people feel like Anthony Richardson would have been if he stayed in school and came back for a year. That's what they're hoping him to be, right? That he's 6'4", 240, 250, like really good athlete and big time arm, elite arm talent and arm strength. He can make every single throw and throw through a brick wall. All the cliches about arm strength. Yeah, DJ Lagway has that. And he's a really, really good athlete for his size as well in his frame. So you're talking about being able to put up points, put up numbers, Eugene Wilson and at the receiver spot. This offense should be able to put up numbers as long as DJ Lagway takes that step forward and elevates his game, right? From his experience as a freshman. Now, when the offense is putting up points, and if you're able to get a lead, Tyreek Sap is going to have a lot of opportunities to just pin his ears back and say, go get ball, big fella. And if that is the case, you love to see it. And I think this is a guy that, again, the 6'2", like he's not going to, certain teams, height requirements or whatever, fine, right? If he's a 6'2", 6'3" guy, no, it's a 6'1", 6'2" guy, yeah, he might not meet that height requirement. But at the end of the day, for me, I look at the production he put on tape last year: 4 QB hits, 8 sacks, 14 pressures. And again, his ability to get upfield quickly, but also I love how he retraces his steps. Right? He's not a guy that just gets upfield, reckless abandon, doesn't care, doesn't locate the ball in the quarterback. He's just firing off, rushing the outside edge. No, he rushes the outside edge, but his eyes are panned to the quarterback. So while he's reading the movements of the tackle, he's staring straight past him or through him to see where the quarterback is in terms of location, pinpoint location in the pocket. From an edge rusher, those are the things you need to have in your bag. It's not just being the first step, explosive guy, bend, all that. Like we were chasing the Von Miller archetype for so long. But you need to be the Khalil Max. You need to be the Nick Bosa's. I mean, you can't be, but if you could be, you want to be a Myles Garrett, right? That just, he has everything. Micah Parsons has everything: power, speed, technique, agility, like all of it, versatility, whatever. Yeah, if you would want guys to be able to do all those things, but like again, like you don't need the Von Miller. To me, is a unicorn at this point. We're not seeing a lot of guys come out that could do. For number one, you could not do what Von Miller could do, but number two, even if you could physically, I still don't view it as a situation where you are going to do it at his level. Like, and you're going to be able to make a Hall of Fame career out of it. So again, we talk about it. You need to be able to bull through and overpower offensive linemen. That's why Jared Verse, I think what Teron Armstead said, the reason why me and Keith talked about it was maybe a week or two ago. We were talking about Jared Verse and everything. And Teron Armstead, who was a left tackle for the Saints, and I think it was left tackle, right tackle. Well, offensive tackle for the Saints, early in his career. Then he went to Miami with the Dolphins and protected Tua as well. It was left tackle. And he asked him about retiring. And he basically said, yeah, guys like Jared Verse is why you retire, or why I decided to retire. And it's just a fact of that power, that strength, that brute ability to overwhelm you vertically, right? I 2 steps up field, and then that third step, I curve and I attack your chest and speed to power. And it's a punch to your chest, and you feel it in your heart. You're like, whoa, this young man got some strength. This is grown man, 6-7 years in the league type of strength. Yes, that's what he brings, man. And I'm not saying Tyreek Hill has that exact same type of strength, but he can work with power. He can convert speed to power. He can work inside. He does those different things that work well. And because of that, you say to yourself, I want him on my team. So while some teams the arm length is going to be a key thing for him, because if you're 6'2", okay, you're not 6'3", 6'4", 6'5". You're not the traditional defensive end height. But if you come in and you have 33s, 33 and a half, great. You come in with 32 and a half, a little bit different. They might look at you and say, we want to bulk you up, right? We want to bulk you up and, make you an interior defensive lineman, right? I think Keith always bring up Yetur Gross-Matos. When he came out of Penn State, he got to Carolina. He was bigger. He lost weight. He got bigger. He lost weight. You look at AJ Epinesa. When he came out of Iowa, went to Buffalo. He was a defensive end. He lost weight to play stand-up role. He added weight again. If I remember correctly, I think he lost weight again. Like his weight has fluctuated throughout his NFL career based on what he's been asked to do defensively. So Tyreek Sap could end up being in that same situation if his measurements do not come to meet the thresholds. But nonetheless, this is a talented player. I think right now I have a day 2 grade on him, second round. Showcased good productivity last year. Now, let's take that to the next step, into the next level. We're talking about taking it to the next level. Guys, coming up next, we're going to talk about Ben Bell, a guy that has transferred from Texas State to Virginia Tech. So there's going to be a big-time opportunity for him in the ACC. We're going to talk about this and more coming up next. Guys, you've probably heard of Viagra or Cialis. Maybe you've even tried them, but if you're looking for something beyond the usual pill, it's time to meet Rougit Ready. Rougit Ready is a next-gen prescription treatment designed to amplify arousal in the brain and boost blood flow. Unlike the usual pills that can take hours, Rougit's 3-in-1 formula dissolves under your tongue and kicks in fast, on average in 15 minutes. Effects can last up to 36 hours, so you can stay confident and in control when the moment is just right. And if traditional options haven't worked, Rougit might be the answer. Over 150,000 men have already made the switch. Head to Rougit.com/LockedOnNFL and use the code LockedOnNFL to get 15% off today. That's RUGIET.com/LockedOnNFL with the code LockedOnNFL for 15% off. Individual results may vary with prescription treatment. Compounded drugs are permitted to be prescribed under federal law, but are not FDA approved and do not undergo FDA safety, effectiveness, or manufacturing review. Please visit the Rougit website for full safety information. Thank you for making Locked On NFL Draft your first listen today and every day. Shout out for being our everydayers. Ben Bell, defensive end, edge rusher. This is his third team. He's for Virginia Tech, playing in 2025. He started his career out at La Tech, Louisiana Tech, transferred in 2022 to Texas State, played 3 years there, and that's when he really saw 2023 has been his best year. 9 sacks, 12 QB hits, 32 pressures, and a forced fumble. He has 5 forced fumbles in his career, 20 sacks, 28 QB hits, 75 pressures. So this is a guy that's been effective at getting to the quarterback. And coming off of last year, he didn't play the entire season. I believe he was dealing with an injury last year where he had 7 QB hits, 4 sacks, 12 pressures on the season, and he only played in 4 games. He played weeks 1 through 3, then he was out, came back, played in week 7, and then he was out again. So when you look at Ben Bell, like, this is a power rusher. This is a guy that plays with power. He's physical and everything. Yeah, he was out for the remainder of the year. He actually used his red shirt for that season as well. So when you look at what he brings to the table, he's listed at 6'2", 235 pounds, and he's kind of a sawed-off build, low center of gravity rusher, and he's kind of going to have, in my opinion, alligator arms. He's going to have like those shorter arms, not dinosaur arms, right? Shout out to, I think with Jurassic World or whatever is about to come out. I can't wait to go see it personally. Next week, matter of fact, next week. So I'm going to go make it a date for myself. You know what I mean? Self-care, guys, self-care. But continuing with Ben Bell, he's going to have shorter arms, but he's strong. He's going to attack guys with that power. He's going to try and set hard edges to deter running backs from bouncing runs out to the outside, outside of his containment zone, right? Where he's trying to contain and keep the ball within leverage and within play of the teeth of the defense. So I think going to Va Tech, this is an opportunity, in my opinion, for him to really play under the bigger and brighter lights. Because if you think about being at Va Tech, right, and you're in the ACC, and I'm about to look at Va Tech's schedule really quick. Virginia Tech, maybe they have a matchup with Clemson on the schedule this year. Who knows, right? We're about to find out in just a moment. But nonetheless, like, if he comes and has a year in 2025 that he had in 2023, right? Let's go back over that year again. 9 sacks, 12 QB hits, 32 pressures, and a forced fumble. If he has a stat line like that at Virginia Tech, I'm just saying it does a lot. And his first, similar to I think it was Reuben Bane that talked about that has the first matchup or whatnot. Yeah, Reuben Bane. Similar to him, he has a big time matchup out the gate. August 31st, Aflac kickoff game in Mercedes-Benz Stadium in Atlanta, Georgia, against South Carolina. So Lenore Sellers, and yeah, like, that's a big time game, right? He's got 2 back-to-back SEC opponents because you got Vanderbilt as well. And so then they get a little bit easier. Then you get Wake Forest and get Georgia Tech. You get Cal, right? And then they have Florida State and they have Miami. That's going to be a really big game. Miami, they get Virginia, which is their rivalry and everything. And then you have the AC championship game if they make it. So again, they won't see Clemson, but it's an opportunity for them for a guy like Ben Bell to really just kind of introduce himself. Right? I said Reuben Bane needs to let me reintroduce myself. Ben Bell needs to introduce himself, and he's going to be a guy that is a older prospect. So for those of you who are ageists and you know just hate on the elderly, I'm not calling Ben Bell elderly. I'm sorry, but if you hate on a guy that took a road less traveled, he's not going to be for you. But I do think that he can be effective to getting to the quarterback. And, you know, he kind of reminds me of like those Steelers just backup edge rushers and special teamers and things like that. But more of a day 3 prospect, day 3 flyer, in my opinion. Solid player. I think he's going to play with great motor, great energy, bring leadership and everything. I think what he's going to probably help out the most immediate for an NFL team will be special teams. And if that is the case, then for sure, you know what I mean, sign me up on that. So I'm looking forward to seeing how it's a step up in competition going from Texas State to Va-Tech. Is the ACC, the SEC, or the Big Ten? No. But going from Texas State to Virginia Tech and having to deal with the quarterbacks, the offensive line play, different things like that, the run game, yeah, it's a little bit, it's a step up. And I think he's up for the task, dude. I do think he's up for the task, guys. And I'm looking forward to seeing what he's able to do. Can he find, you know, coming back healthy, can he find his footing early enough in this defense, early in the season, and really just kind of get the ball rolling and just consistently roll and go and rack up those numbers, those pressures, those hurries, those forced fumbles, those tackles for losses, things like that. He's going to be, because he's going to project more of a 3-4 outside backer than anything, you know, hand in the dirt, defensive end. No, he's probably not going to project as that. Again, you know, for when you look at his weight, 6'2", or his measurement, 6'2", 235 right now listed as. We'll get official stuff at the combine if he's invited and everything, which I think he should be. So we'll see, guys. But that's the show, man. We talking edge rushers: Ben Bell, Tyreak Sap, and Reuben Bane Jr. Go subscribe and follow for free on YouTube, wherever you listen to podcasts, to get the latest episode as soon as it is available. Thank you for making Locked On NFL Draft your first listen today and every day. Shout out for being our everyday. So on tomorrow's show, we're going to talk about some pass catchers. Guys, there's a receiver at Texas Tech that I got to talk to you about. So come and join the conversation again tomorrow on the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.